Hi, my name is Sarah McCarg. This summer I studied on the China Mandarin program in Zhuhai. This is my dad, Joe, and my mom, Carol. We're going to answer some questions for you today. The first question is, how did you manage or mitigate your nerves about study abroad? I'll let Mom take this one.
Well, we weren't really that nervous about Sarah going to China because we knew other kids in the area that had gone through the NSLI-Y program and different organizations.
And then, what challenges did you and your son or daughter overcome during the NSLI-Y program? So, as for challenges that I overcame, there were a couple of key situations that come to mind. The first one was, one day we got back from Guangzhou, and my host mom told me, okay, we're at your sister's piano recital, so you need to come take this bus and then take this bus. So I took the first bus, no problem. But the second bus wasn't coming for another hour, so I said, what should I do? She said, oh, well, just take a taxi. I have never hailed a taxi in English, let alone in Chinese. So I had to figure out how to do that and then just try to kind of navigate my way using the language skills that I had. Another challenge was when I got really sick during the third week. You know, I had a fever, and I didn't really have the words to express to my host family what was going on, so there was a lot of confusion there. But reaching out to my resident director and the program coordinator, and then they helped me deal with the challenges, and then from there just trying to talk to my parents and navigate, you know, having a fever and having to use a mercury thermometer in my armpit and taking traditional Chinese medicine because my host parents said I couldn't skip it, and, you know, all these things that were sort of happening, and then trying to go to Shenzhen 3 days later. So communication with everybody and just breathing through it and remembering that I had had friends who had done the same thing and reaching out to my friends who were on the program with me was really helpful for overcoming those challenges.
And you have to remember that you're in a different country, in a different culture, and so when you're in China, you're going to take Chinese herbal medicine. And like I told Sarah, that is a very old civilization, so they've been doing it for a long time, so there's got to be something there that is helpful. I suggested to Advil, and she didn't take my suggestion.
I did.
But they also have a little different philosophy of sweating it out there, so she had to do that too.
All right, and then the next two questions kind of go together. How was NSLI-Y meaningful for your son or daughter, and how did NSLI-Y impact him or her? Dad?
I think I'll let you answer that.
Okay, well, in terms of how it was meaningful for me, what stood out to me the most was the connections that I made with people, particularly with my host sister and my language partner. My host sister was just this wonderful human being, and she and I had a lot of common interests, so we would play piano together, and she would make fun of my last name, and we would help each other pronounce things in our different languages. And that connection, it really helped me to feel welcome in my host family's home and culture, and you know, it was so hard to say goodbye because of how strong of a connection we had formed. And with my language partner, we bonded over humor. And by the last couple of weeks, we were going, every night we went to a different place, and she would make fun of me for this, and I would laugh over that, and we would go on these different adventures together and discover different parts of the city. And that was just really wonderful for me. I felt like I learned to handle a degree of independence and freedom in a very foreign situation. I had never been in a big city before, I'd never taken public transportation before, let alone in a different language. So learning to navigate that and have a sort of independence that I had never had before was something that I feel has carried forward now after my time at NSLI-Y and helped me in life in general.
And as an addendum to that, sir, this is college application time, and it's far more comfortable with the idea of Sarah going to a school in a large city that I'm sure we would have been more apprehensive about if she hadn't gone on this trip and shown her ability to navigate all the issues that come with an urban environment. So that's been another benefit of the trip that doesn't have anything to do with China, but it will definitely benefit her here in the States.
And finally, it was impactful, of course, in terms of language progress. You know, from where I started to where I ended the program, there were, what I feel were huge improvements. And also, having those experiences where you're hailing a taxi or taking a 24-hour language pledge really force you to learn, to take what you do know and stretch it as far as it can go. So I thought that was very helpful. And the final question, what advice would you offer other families considering NSLI-Y? My personal advice is to go for it. And don't, you know, you're never going to have a chance like this again, so take it if you can.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it if your child is interested in it. You know, some of the things that we were concerned about, like the money issues and things like that, ended up being very kind of nothing issues. The program is wonderful. They have a very adequate stipend for transportation and for food. We just have nothing but positive things to say about it.
So let your kids go and don't micromanage them when they're over there, and they'll have a great time.
Oh yes, don't micromanage them. You can easily communicate with them using WeChat, but we chose not to text Sarah, and basically Sarah texted us first, and then of course we would have conversations. But if you do have a child that wants to communicate with you regularly, that is also very easy to do. And Sarah's wonderful host family made her.
Yeah, one night my
contact
host
us.
dad asked me, he was like, when do you call your mom and dad a lot? And I was like, no, not really. I mean, I text them sometimes, like, call them every night. So that night I called them, and then we talked till midnight, and then he was like, why are you still up? And I was like, because you told me to call them. But
She did not call every night. I think we did maybe 2 video calls. One was we just kind of wanted to make sure that she got there.
So yeah, positive experience, and we hope you take advantage of it if you're in a position to do so.